Welcome to this tutorial on WARPIPS, which really is an exciting new game. I think it was released on Steam back in April, and it is a lot of fun. They have a Discord, as you can see. The game is sort of a blend, I want to say, between tower defense, RTS, and even a tug-of-war game type, if there is such, where things go back and forth. It's kind of like a big tug-of-war. Now, you can go through the tutorial, but this is a tutorial, so we don't really need to show that. There's two basic game types. There's campaigns and there's skirmishes. Now, the skirmishes is kind of good. You may want to, in fact, when I first played this, I just skipped the tutorial and came to easy mode. It's good to kind of learn the game if you want to just get going pretty quickly. You can do that with this easy mode skirmish. I think that's kind of a good place to start before you get into the nitty-gritty of the campaign. But I'm going to go ahead and show you campaign mode because that's where all the fun's at. And so we're going to hit new campaign. We're going to overwrite that. There's three difficulties: private, sergeant, major, and general. I'm going to go ahead and just select major, but you can start out again with the difficulty rating that you feel is necessary. So you're first going to log in. It's going to ask you to customize everything. We're just going to hit OK. Now, when you first come in, you're going to be showing all of these little screens here. At first, it's going to be a little bit daunting, but here is the first island that you need to conquer. This is the starting point. These are the areas that you can go into. You can select these different areas. You can go into them as long as they're within range of your opening province. Obviously, we can't get to here yet. It doesn't even show the deploy button. That's how you can see if you can go there. You can just see if it will allow you to deploy. But as you move deeper into this island, you'll be able to get to these different areas and it will get more difficult. This is just the first island. There are 3 islands that you need to conquer. The flag is what you need to capture. Once you capture that, you go to the next island. This basically portion of the campaign's over and you move on to the next campaign. Now, I will say that you don't have to conquer all the provinces in an island. So you could literally just bypass regions. And what I found is on the first island, you should not do that because you want to basically get all the war bucks that you can. You want to collect all the resources. What do I mean by that? Well, over here, it tells you, like this first province that we go into, it will tell you the rewards you're going to get. So we're going to get 1 combat coupon. Those are spent at the arms dealer. These are spent at the arms dealer. We'll talk more about that. And then there are war bucks, and these are spent with upgrades, and we'll talk more about that. It also tells you the rewards that you're going to get. In this case, we're going to get a war pip, some sandbags, and an oil barrel, which gives us instant cash. These are very useful, especially later on. So it also tells you the enemy lineup. So you kind of have an idea of what you're up against. I kind of like that, and you can plan accordingly. And that's really the important thing. So you can sort of plan accordingly. So the first thing we're going to do, again, so we know, let's go to where your inventory is. It's called the loadout. So you come here, and this is everything we currently have. So you can see we have 3 small turrets. We have some sandbags. We have a heavy gunner. This, by the way, this will be random. So if you start a new campaign, you may start out with some different things. You always get the war pip. This is the default unit. And pretty much, I don't think there's a single board where I have not deployed a war pip. How do you deploy a war pip? You just pick it up here, drag it down, and he's ready to go. Once we deploy to a province, he'll be the unit that we deploy. And you can see here we lost one, so we only have 2. So that's one of the very important parts of this game. You gotta sort of keep in mind, it's tempting. I think when I first started playing the game, I would just deploy everything. You only want to deploy, it's sort of a fine line. You have 3 lives. In hard, I believe in the general mode, you only have 1. So if we lose 3 times, the game's over. Just keep that in mind. You have 3 lives, and once they're gone, that's it. So that's really the challenging part of this game is how to protect your inventory because you're going to need a lot of these units later on, but also you don't want to lose. So that's really the balance, the meat and bones of this game, I find. It's not even the play time, it's the balancing what to use and when to use it and how often to use it. I will tell you, the one that I use the most is the WARPIP. I mean, that's like the default one. You're going to use that, I think, on every board. The other one is you see this pipsqueak. These are kind of like fodder guys. You kind of throw them out there. They're free. That's nice, but they don't do a lot of damage. But they are nice. They're free, especially if you're like low on cash. These guys can be lifesavers. And I actually like saving these for the harder boards and not using them up because you don't usually get as many of these as you do the WARPIP. Okay, so you can see everything in our inventory. Let's go back to the map, and you can see we've gotten our loadout, our WARPIP. Now, keep in mind, I want to show you if we go over to this map, so I flipped over here, you can see we're not getting any WARPIPs. Now, there have been a few times where I wasn't paying attention to what the rewards were, and I ran out of WARPIPs, and that can be challenging, not to have a WARPIP. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to run out of WARPIP. So even though we've got 2, it might be a good idea to take this island first because we're going to get 2 WARPIPs. We're actually going to gain a WARPIP. So just keep that in mind too. So we're going to go ahead and play a game now. We'll talk about upgrades in a little bit, but first I want to go ahead and deploy. So we're going to deploy. And the game it'll show you both the bases. You can see this is your base, and then the enemy base is over here. It's always that way. Your base is on the left, and the other base is on the right. So it is like a classic tower defense, but it also is kind of like a tug-of-war because there'll be a lot of back and forth action. And you can use the arrows to go over, and you can see they're already deploying forces are coming at us. Now, I like to wait. I almost do this every board. You don't need to really rush this. You want to wait because you're making cash here. In fact, I'm going to hit the pause button for a minute because I want to explain the 3 basic ways that the in-game, basically when you're in the game, everything is based off these metals. So you see that here on the left. We have 2 metals. These metals can be spent in 3 areas. First is the supply. You can see we've got 3 dots here. What does that mean? That means I can deploy 3 pips. That's it. WARPIPs. That's all I get. Now, if I added to this, if I click this, I would have to consume 1 metal. And if you consume that metal, I would have 4, but you go down a metal. The other thing in the middle here, this is an instant cash. You hit this button, you get instant cash. This will also consume a metal. So if I wanted to get 160 cash right away, I could hit this twice. That's not usually the good strategy because this arrow right here increases that amount of instant cash you get. So even though you won't get instant cash right away, you can max this out. I think it's to 150. So you may want to think about that. Unless you're in a desperate situation, might be better to build this up first. You can also spend your metals on skill points. These are in-game. I think there's 9 of them, 8 or 9 of them, and you can rank up. This is really important, especially later on. Early on, it's not as important, but later on, getting your units ranked up is very critical because you're going to be facing some really difficult units, some heavy armor and all kinds of stuff that are going to be thrown at you. So it's important to get this guy upgraded all the way, especially when you get deeper into the countryside. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and resume this. Now, I'm going to go ahead and first spend a point on an extra supply unit and rank up 1 skill. Now, the other thing is, one of the reasons I let these guys come at us first is I want to build up my cash a little bit. And then sort of, I don't want to just send a couple units. You want to, and that's where this comes into play. You want to sort of build up your army rather than just sending guys forward piecemeal. You kind of want to get them all in a squad. So let's resume this. They're getting close to our base, so we've got 90. We know a WARPIP costs 25, so I can buy 3 of these. And there you can see it just filled up. Let's actually buy another one. We did. We can deploy 4 now, and we just leveled up, so I got 2 metals. See how fast that is? And that's how you get the metals. When you level up, you get metals. So you can see here, I'm going to hopefully get another medal. It's leveling up. I've got 3. Let's spend these. Let's actually spend a couple on skill points, and let's boost up the instant cash, but we're going to boost up what we get. And you can see it just went to 75. Now I'm getting medals really quickly here in the beginning, so let's rank them up. Let's get another pip supply, and let's keep deploying. So you can see here we're pushing forward. Now these on the side, you'll see a shield here, and you'll see a lightning bolt. Now the lightning bolt increases accuracy and your move speed. So let's do that. You can see they're moving faster, and look how fast they just took those guys out when I hit that. Now it drains as you hold it down. It will drain. So use it. You have to sort of think about when you use it, but you can see we just totally obliterated them. And we got some more medals. Let's increase our skill ranking. Now, the shield actually gives you greater range. So that's also very useful. I usually use this if I'm very far away from the units. I'll use that. If I'm close range, I think lightning bolt's better. So it really depends on how you want to play it. You can see we're already at their base, and they're in massive damage or massive trouble here, and we won. So there we go. We won our first battle, and we conquered this province. You can see as the enemy strength will keep increasing as you conquer provinces, so it gets more difficult. Here's the rewards we got, and we gained a combat coupon, which we're going to talk about right now, and war bucks, which now we're going to talk about. Okay, so we're coming back to the main screen. And you can see, like I said, now it opened up further provinces because we conquered this province right here. Now we can move deeper. Now, this is one curious thing you can do. I don't know if I just talked about this, but you can bypass provinces. So we literally could take this province, this one, this one, this one, and then go on to the next island. But like I said, I don't find that advisable. There may be, like the third island, I started doing that a little bit because you may find some areas where it's just not worth, the risk reward isn't worth it. You've got enough inventory and you just want to complete the game. So there may come times where that's necessary. You'll have to decide, like, is it worth just bypassing this, or is it worth, going deeper? And again, like I said before, the flag ends when you conquer that, you've conquered this island, you move on to the next, and there are 3, like I said. But you can see that's pretty difficult. Okay, so let's go back to let's go to the upgrades now. Let's talk a little bit about that. Now, upgrades is very, very important, obviously. And I found that the most important, I have like a strategy, and you can develop your own, of course, but I've got a particular strategy that I use. I want to unlock the arms dealer as quickly as possible because that's really important, because you can see here, this unlocks a 3rd slot, but in order to get to this one, you need to unlock this one first. So this one actually unlocks the heavy equipment. This is so critical because I found that if you're in a situation, so we can actually see what we're fighting here near the end of the island. See here, they've got vehicles. These are extremely difficult to deal with if you don't have vehicles. And there's a sniper. This is a difficult board because your sniper can literally just take out your infantry, and they're sending vehicles. So you need to have heavy armor by the time you reach this island. I'm sorry, this province, because this is going to be really difficult with just infantry. You are going to have, you could win it, but you're going to have an extraordinarily hard time. So that's why I think it's critical early on to try and get vehicles. And you can buy them at the arms dealer on the first island. Now, on the second island, they'll start appearing as rewards, but obviously if we can't get to them, they're not rewards. You don't see any rewards here, right? If we click these islands, you don't see any vehicle rewards. So that's why you have to get this arm dealer unlocked ASAP. Very important. Okay, next one I usually go for is the recruitment center. This gives you extra pip supply. Very important. Now, you remember those dots I was showing you? Remember I was showing you those in the in-game? Well, think about this. This will add an extra pip supply. So instead of 3 dots, we'd have 4. And if you get to this, you'd have 5, 6, 7. Think about how important that is, because what that allows you to do is spend your combat medals in ranking up your skill and also in the instant cache. You don't have to worry about supply early on at all. So that's really huge, right? You can spend your combat medals in other places. So once I get this unlocked, I think what I did when I completed major mode, I'll give you the exact path. I think I went arms dealer, then I added 2 supply points, then I got the vehicle bay. This is huge. You gain a large increase in health. Then I think I went for the rest of the pip supply, and then I unlocked the academy. Now the academy is important because you get greater XP, which will give you medals faster and faster, right? Your in-game kills. Then I got this one, and then I think I went for the barracks, and finally finished out the weapons depot. You can also add, if you get to this point, I don't think I actually did engineering corps. I find this less useful, but you may find it useful. Who knows? So you can see here we won 15 war bucks and we got combat coupons. Now, It used to be, I think when they first did the game, it was just Warbucks. But then people were complaining that it took too much time to buy things, so they came up with another currency, combat coupons. If you come to the arms dealer, we can spend these, we could now buy. This changes every time, you complete a victory. You'll have different things in here, but we could buy a sniper for 6 combat coupons. We currently don't have enough. We only have 1. You can convert. Now, this is the big thing you can also do. And you may need to do this at certain points. Like you can convert your Warbucks into 3 combat coupons. So if you needed something, I usually do that if there's something I really like a tank or something, I may convert these and hold off on upgrades. But be careful doing that. But later on, when you have all your upgrades, you can just convert these things as much as you want and buy all the items you need. So that's kind of useful. Okay, so let's go. So I think you've got kind of the basic flavor of it. Now, I will tell you that obviously, the deeper you go, it's going to get more and more difficult. So you can see here, we're not really facing anything. We could just use a single war pip pretty much to win these. Where it starts to get difficult is even these units, these war fighters, pistol pips, you'll be able to handle these guys pretty easily. I would still only use a war pip. Where it starts to get difficult is when you start to face specialized units. This gas pip is really annoying. What he does is he fires in an AoE gas grenade, which affects your entire squadron. So usually what I do to handle that is I'll deploy a war pip. I'll go to my loadout here. I'll deploy a war pip, and I like the heavy gunners against those guys. So those work well. Like I said, though, when you get deeper, you'll start running into some really tough things where you start getting snipers and you start getting vehicles. And when you start getting their heroes, you're going to need vehicles. That's why I said it's very important to have vehicles in your inventory, which we currently don't. Otherwise, you're going to run into some deep issues. So just keep that in mind. So that's really the basic strategy of the game. That's really the basic, strategy. That's the upgrade strategy. And what I'm going to do now is just put the game on pause and go win a couple games. I don't think you need to watch this anymore. And maybe we'll do a little bit of fighting. Actually, you know what we'll do? Get some vehicles, and then we'll fight on this island. I'll show you how these vehicles work. That's what I wanted to do, because that's actually the most important. Management of the vehicles is more important than anything else. It's really important to winning the game. You're going to need vehicles. Now, well, you know what? We'll talk more about vehicles in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the game on pause now, and we'll come back and we'll show you the vehicles. Okay, we're back, and you can see on the first this first map, I've conquered all the provinces except for the last 2. And this is the current one we need to go into. And remember, I said we really do need some vehicles. One thing you'll see, by the way, just to point out, sometimes you'll see question marks. And these are really random. You can get a really sweet item. You can get a really bad item. So really random in terms of what you get. Also going to point out that let's see. Oh, yeah. Back on this one. Remember I was telling you, I actually lost a couple lives here because I wanted to show you what happens when you lose a life. So you can see here, I just forfeited a couple games. So I wanted to show you that, hey, we're down to 1 now. When you forfeit, you lose. That's it. Game over. So just wanted to point that out, how important that is. Now, sometimes you can recover those lives, and you can recover that on some islands. So if we click, it's not going to let me. It won't show me anymore. But some islands, you'll see like an arrow up, and if you're victorious, it will recover one of those lives. The caveat to this whole thing is that those can be very difficult. Some of these ones with bombs, those can be very difficult to complete. So just to let you know, go in there, you might actually lose rather than gaining a life. So just be aware of that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now. And like I said, I got some more Warbucks. I was able to spend those on the 2 extra supply pips. So we'll see 2 more dots. You'll see that when we go to this fight. And now I've got a vehicle. I was able to get that off the arms dealer and buy it. So we've got one of these vehicles. Now, I'm going to go fully loaded into here. Normally, when you have a vehicle, I can usually, unless it's like a flag province, like a really difficult fight, usually this would almost suffice. But I'm going to put a few more extra things in here just to show you how they work. But you want, again, this is another thing you have to think about, like, how much do I want to commit, you know, to this island? How much do I want to commit to win this? So I'm also going to show you the turret. I wouldn't normally probably use it on this one, but, you know, I want to show it to you. I'm probably using way more than I need, because this vehicle alone, if you get these 2 of these vehicles, and I'll show you, you can actually get 2 of them. You can actually win the game just with those 2 on this, at least in this version of this map. So, and we're also going to throw in, let's go ahead and let's put in this instant cash thing. I want to show you how that works. So if you look at the vehicle here, the Puma, it's going to take 3 supply pips. Take a look at that. Just keep that in mind. So if you want to deploy 2 of them, and you really can't, I'll show you this, you can't deploy 2 of these until you get, I think you have to rank up 4 times skill points, you know, when you're in the combat medals. So you can only deploy 1 in the beginning, but when you get to deploy 2 of them, this is a pretty badass vehicle. In fact, the tow launcher is really awesome. It'll actually take out other vehicles pretty quick with this little rocket on it. Okay, so let's go ahead and deploy. And again, this is a rather difficult map with the snipers and the vehicles. So we're going to go in here. And we've already been through sort of the mechanics of the combat mode. So but I am going to show you some important things about the vehicle. Now, here's the vehicle, and you'll notice, well, I just clicked on it, so I had to spend a combat point. You have to spend 2 combat points to unlock that. I get that done right away, because you can see these little skulls over these guys. That means they're fully upgraded units. They are very difficult. Now, one thing I'm going to do, though, is let them approach and take them out with the turret. So that's one thing nice about the turret. You can kind of buy yourself a little bit of time, gain a few points before you even have to deploy anything. That's really nice. And so you can see there I just used the instant cash, and I'll use this as long as I can. You know, you kind of want to develop that type of strategy where you basically, now I'm going to let the rockets go a little bit, gather as many medals and stuff before you actually have to do fighting. And one thing I'm going to do now, let's upgrade that instant cash. Let's get that to 75. In fact, let's get a skill point. And we're doing really well here. Let's actually get another skill point, because we're going to need those. And I'm going to let some more rockets fly. You know, we just took out a bunch of them. I mean, we don't even have to fight the game yet. So this is a really kind of cool strategy. If you have stuff that you can unleash on the enemy before you even have to deploy any units, that is extremely useful. And well, that was a bad shot. But watch, yeah, that was actually a bad, well, we hit him, but I wanted to actually, that rocket was powerful enough, it could have actually taken out this sniper tower. Okay, so look at all this stuff we've done, and we haven't even started fighting yet. We haven't even had to, like, deploy any of our units. And you got to watch out for the cooldown on this thing, by the way. Okay, now we need to deploy some units, because once the vehicles come in, and you can see that, yeah, let's help it out. You got the turret. That's why, actually, the turret might have been a good idea on this board. And that's the thing, you got to watch out for that cooldown. Okay, so, yeah, we're doing really well. Let's actually get another combat point. So I did there. You can see here, 1 of 1, we don't have 1 of 2. When you have 1 of 2, then you know we can do 2 vehicles. And then you're going to get pretty tough pretty quick. Okay, now it's important to always make sure you have enough cash in the reserve so that you can deploy your vehicle. Don't ever get to the point where you can't deploy that. And that means usually what I do is I always keep 1 combat medal available unless you need instant cash. You don't want to get to the point where you have to do this. I'll show you this at the end of the video. And this is kind of the drastic last stand type of thing. Now, oh, see, he already destroyed that. That was kind of a waste of a missile. So he's already handling these fully upgraded units. I mean, look at that. He's just mowing right through them. So, okay, so now what I'm going to show you is we're going to do a 4th upgrade here. We've only got 1 vehicle. Watch what happens when I hit the skill point. Boom, look at that. We got 2 available now. And let's go ahead and get some instant cash. And let's hit our barrel. And we're going to have plenty of cash here. In fact, I might even, well, I'm not going to do it, but I was going to use the metal, but let's... Oh, you know what? I didn't, we're going to need some extra pip supplies. Let's let these things fly. Oh, those just did massive damage. Yeah, we're going to need some more pips here. And there you can see, Now deploy both vehicles. No, I need one of these guys to die. It takes 3 slots, so there we go. So now we've got 3 vehicles. So we're really going to put a hurting on them. And let's let one of these guys fly. There's a sniper. So these snipers are very difficult against the infantry, like I said. All right, let's let the big missile, watch this. Well, actually, I'm going to win this game already. See how tough these vehicles are? This is why this is so important. Without these vehicles, they're probably going to get wasted here, but without these vehicles, I probably would have been gone. Let's actually see if we can win this really quick. So let's go on extra pip supply. Let's go here. You know what? I didn't want to do that. I wanted to save, but we should be okay. I wanted to deploy both vehicles and get some infantry. And I think we're going to be able to do that. So let's get some infantry. Send the free guys in. And you can see they're already causing big trouble. Yeah, I think we might actually be close to winning this. Well, oh no, they hit. I don't know what happened there. They hit him with. I think they hit him. Something blew up. That's fine. So that's why having this combat medal is important, because I can now cash that in, and I can get both guys out there really quick. If I had not had that in reserve, I could have been in trouble there. So that's why it's important to get that medal back right away. You want to get that back right away because you may need it. Let the rockets fly. And you can see how this is sort of a tug of war, right? Things just kind of go back and forth, you know, and this is typical. We got 2. Let's actually do this. We're going to increase this to 125, and now we're going to it's going to become like a war of attrition. We're going to hit them with a big missile right here. Boom. And we're coming forward. It's probably out of range of the turret. Infantry is a little bit behind. That's typical. Sometimes you're like, hey, infantry, can you catch up? Okay, so this is why you can see sometimes these can be real fights. But without the vehicle, you know how hard this would have been? I keep saying that, I know, but... Okay, so I think you get the idea. Now what I want to show you is... Well, actually, we'll go ahead and just deploy it again real quick. So after this run, I want to show you an emergency maneuver, which is very important. I'm going to actually talk about it right now as we're fighting. So if you highlight over this will allow you, look at that, trade supply. That means one of these dots for instant cash. And this is if you get in trouble. I've actually turned matches around where I had no cash and they were completely in my base and firing at it. And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to let them sort of overrun us. Okay, so here they come. We're getting overrun. I'm not going to spend the instant cash now. I'm just going to let them come in. Here, it highlights because they're within range. And look, I hit it and X. I hit it and X. Gives me instant cash. The problem is you're trading these slots. So it might save you, which it will, but you will lose your pip dots. Now, I want to tell you, they will come back eventually. It's not like it's permanent. I do want to stress that. It's not like it's like a permanent thing. But it can actually save you. It has, and like I said, I've actually turned games around doing that. So just keep that in mind. That can be a total lifesaver in every way, shape, and possible. So that's the tutorial. I hope it helped. And please watch my other tutorials if you like this one. Thank you.